And a pleasant good afternoon, everyone. Jeff Viva, Sports Information Director at Calvin University. And you have to be pretty optimistic to say this is a pleasant afternoon because weather-wise it is not very pleasant out there. It's about 34, 35 degrees. A light rain continuing to fall. We had slush in the area, but it's playable and the field is cleared, unlike last Saturday when we had blowing and drifting snow at times during that men's lacrosse game. So we are going to play lacrosse between the North Central Cardinals out of the CCIW Conference, College Conference of Illinois, Wisconsin to be exact, and of course the Calvin Knights. Calvin comes in at 3-4, and North Central comes in at 3-3. Calvin's last game actually came on Monday night. They were supposed to play last week against Baldwin Wallace, and because of the snow that came through, that field where they were scheduled to play here locally was deemed unplayable, so they moved that game to Monday night, and that ended up being kind of an unusual situation. Calvin losing it 11-9 after only 3 periods of play because of a power outage at Baldwin Wallace. So they called the game after 3 periods with Baldwin Wallace leading 11-9, and it goes in the books as an official contest. So that's the way the cookie crumbles on that one. Looking at this Calvin team, though, they have had some real strong play from their attack, specifically Megan Gilbert and Audrey Boer. We saw the game a week and a half ago when they defeated Wisconsin Lacrosse here in the Grand Rapids area. I actually played that game on the Aquinas College field, and that was a great performance. And then Jessica Camp has been the stalwart in goal for Calvin. Megan Chang, another player to watch. She's been really strong for the Knights. Gilbert, a first-team all-conference selection last year, and Camp, a second-team all-conference selection. Looking at this North Central team, and I'm glad I've got my pronunciation guide here. Senior Tanya Chozak leads the North Central squad in scoring, 12 goals, 1 assist, and 13 points on the year. Sophomore Abby McKenzie, 10 goals, 3 assists, and 13 points. And freshman Bella Larocco in net has 38 saves and a save percentage of about 35%. Looking at this Calvin lacrosse schedule here, April 5 is the MIAA opener for Calvin. That's the next contest after today, and that will be at Elma Wednesday night, 7 p.m. And of course, I remember a year ago, Calvin had Elma in the league opener right here at Eagles Stadium. So Calvin in the white uniforms this afternoon, trimmed in maroon and white, and Benedictine in the black uniforms, and they're trimmed in the cardinal red, a little bit of white. So kind of a dark, gloomy day, but we were going to play, and here's our national anthem. Well, great to have Bruce Hansen over doing the public address and handling the sound and the music. So if you hear him in the background, shout out to him. And it looks like we're going to have him for the rest of this men's and women's lacrosse season. So that's outstanding news. Again, getting ready here on this gloomy afternoon weather-wise, but hopefully it'll be a sunshiny performance for the Calvin women's lacrosse team. Other action today, men's lacrosse is on the road. They're at Benedictine University in the western suburbs of Chicago, Lisle, Illinois to be exact. They'll be starting that one at roughly 2 o'clock Eastern time. Baseball is supposed to play Wheaton at 3 o'clock, and they decided to cancel that one. They did get in 2 games yesterday and split a doubleheader with Concordia Moorhead of Minnesota. I think the first game was a 12-0 loss, and then the Knights came from behind to win Game 2, 7-6. Women's tennis is at home today, playing inside the Huizinga Tennis and Track Center on Calvin's campus, and that match should be starting right about now, to be exact. So the only action today, now with all of these weather postponements, we have lacrosse in action and tennis playing indoors. Softball was supposed to play today down at Anderson in the Indianapolis area, and that doubleheader was moved to May 1 because of the weather. So we're hoping for better weather beginning next week. It is supposed to get a little warmer, and hopefully things will dry out a little bit as well. Softball's supposed to be at home next Tuesday. I think that's against Bluffton, doubleheader. All right, ready for the draw here. And that's Gilbert, and I cannot see who that is for North Central. And that draw will be won by Gilbert. And she is quickly into the attack. I think that was Chozak who was taking the draw there for Benedictine. Well, Gilbert recently setting the Calvin career record for draw control wins. She is over 400, I believe, on her career. Surpassed Madeline Boss, who was the previous record holder. On the attack is Lainey Aldridge trying to turn the corner, shoots, and it's going to go wide. Scooped up by Michaela McClimate. And she's on the attack. Good inside-outside move and a shot into the back of the net. And pending the stick check, basket check, if you will. That will be a Michaela McClimate goal. And she has been very strong for the Knights in this non-conference slate. They've moved her into more of an attacking role this spring, and she has thrived in that role. And it looks like it will be a good goal. Good job, Knight. 14:09, so just 51 seconds into this contest, and McClimate finding the back of the net. So again, it looks like Chozak going up against Gilbert. And that is going to be won by North Central. Right, I said Chozak. That was actually Lucy Kulig who was in the draw area there for North Central. So little challenging to read these uniform numbers the first time around for North Central, so we'll do our best. Got the maroon jerseys, or maroon numerals on the black jerseys, so you have to pay close attention. A near steal by the Knights, but Kulig hangs on to the ball. Up 55 on the shot clock. Making a cut in the lane there was Reagan Jordan, but the Cardinals will just keep it on the perimeter, looking for an opening. That's Kulig with it. Knights playing pretty solid defense. That's Eva Dorlag, who was staying home on D. Chozak, pass in front, and a shot and a goal. That looks like number 27, Abby Treby. Treby is a senior attacker out of Gurnee, Illinois.
Cardinals goal, Abby Treby.
Ties it up at 1-1. Looking at North Central, they defeated Lake Forest 14-12, a common opponent for Calvin, as the Knights defeated Lake Forest 20-16. Let's see, North Central defeated Concordia, Wisconsin 11-10, and then lost 3 in a row. Looks like a southern trip, probably on their spring break. Lost to Sewanee 18-6, Mount Holyoke 18-4, and then Southwestern of Texas 13-5, and then earlier this week defeated Marion of Wisconsin 11-10. So some tight, all 3 wins for North Central have been very close ones. 2 one-goal wins and 1 by 2. Back to the draw area, and Gilbert will send that one flying, and it's McClimate that will come up with the ball and get the draw control for the Knights. Gilbert just using her strength right there to fire that ball out toward the wing, and it was an easy scoop for McClimate. 1-1 early on, about 2.5 minutes in. Chang has it, and we're going to have an infraction on the Cardinals. I think that was Anise Kaufman. So Chang with a free position attempt. Comes right in, shoots, and a goal. Apparently it went in and then came out. That's why you have the official that's behind the net to see if it crossed the line, and apparently it did. Must have just gone over the line because the goalie, LaRocco, was trying to push the ball forward, and when I saw it, I saw the ball in front of her stick. The referee blew the whistle and pointed as a good goal. Had a lot of goals in the NCAA hockey playoffs last night. First on the D3 side. Shout out to Adrian College, MIAA opponent in most sports for Calvin, but their men's hockey team going to the national championship game for the second straight year. They were down 3 goals in the semifinals yesterday, came back to tie 7-7 at the end of regulation, and then won it in overtime. They are the defending national champs. I believe they take on Hobart Sunday night in the D3 national championship. Calvin wins the draw. Was following the D1 hockey a little bit last night, and all 4 Big Ten teams winning. I think Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, and Minnesota all were winners, and I think they outscored the opposition combined something like 33-4. I know Michigan will play Penn State Sunday night, so that'll assure a Big Ten team in the Frozen Four. A shot and a save by LaRocco. I believe that shot by Calvin was Gilbert firing it, and here comes North Central in transition the other way. Carrying the ball right there is Chozak. And now Abby McKenzie. And bit of a slower, deliberate pace here by North Central. They will probe. Calvin up 2-1, about 4 minutes into this one. Cutting toward the net there was McKenzie, and now a steal by Camp. And Camp, as those of you from the Calvin side know, is a very ambitious player with the ball, and her pass through the center was deflected, and it'll be a turnover and an unsuccessful clear. It looks like for North Central, Skylar Kipka will scoop it up. So again, North Central will just move it around the perimeter, kind of like a team tossing the ball around against a zone defense in basketball. Odessa Wood has it, and she is trying to move on in. Actually just gave up the ball. That was McKenzie again. .50 on the shot clock here.
Go, Reagan, go.
Chang on the defense. Little check action there. I think that's Kulig with the ball. No, that was Chozak or McKenzie. It's hard to see these uniforms with the numerals. About 25 on the shot clock.
Time, let's go. Headshot.
Past the center and cutting in and unable to get to the ball was Kipka, and Kelvin comes the other way in transition. A foul on North Central, and it's a fast break opportunity, if you will, and on the attack for the Knights, Annalise Hansen. Behind the net is McClimate. 9 minutes left, first quarter, 2-1 Kelvin. Audrey Boer, the freshman out of Fishers, Indiana. Now here's Aldridge. Senior from the Detroit area, Grosse Pointe Woods to be exact. Gilbert. Sneaking through three defenders. Her pass is going to be intercepted. It'll be a turnover. And North Central will bring the ball the other way. So a very cagey first quarter so far. Both teams just kind of probing. Now here's a turnover on North Central. They toss it out of bounds. And it's Audrey Boer finding Gilbert. Gilbert has a chance to become Calvin's all-time leading scorer, both in points and also in goals. Got about 15 goals to go yet. Now the Knights being patient on offense. Here's Aldridge, and a shot and a save by the keeper, LaRocco, who got her leg in front of that one, and the ball trickles up to her via a teammate, and she'll move the ball up the field. Goalie way out of her net, up by the 35-yard line. And she's back to retreat. Clearance attempt still underway by North Central, and the Knights trying to hold the Cardinals in. It's Kulig who has it, and looks like that will be a successful clear for the Cardinals. So they'll set up shop. Took up a good chunk of the shot clock. About 40 to go there. On the shot clock, 6:50 in the quarter. 2-1 Kelvin. Chozak trying to get to the net. Comes right on in and scores. Beat the defender and got right in on top of the goal, and a well-placed shot to the top shelf. Not much of a chance for Camp from point-blank range, and that will even it up 2-2. And you can hear that there are some hardy fans that have made their way out here and are braving the elements. Could be worse. I've seen worse, but not super ideal weather conditions. Better than last Saturday, though, I can tell you that, when we had the blowing snow. Referee placing the ball. Here we go. And Gilbert will win that draw. And quickly gets it to McClimate, and here come the Knights. Pretty even game so far. Scoreboard says so as well, 2-2. That is J.C. Smith who had it. Now cutting inside and then losing the ball, and we are going to have an infraction on North Central in a free position attempt coming up, I believe, for Audrey Boer. That foul was on Reese McMullen, who hit her on the shoulder with the stick. Coming in on net, Boer, and a shot and a goal. Went top shelf, right corner. She'll beat LaRocco.
Audrey Boer on the free position shot.
Makes it 3-2. So it'll be Gilbert again in the draw area.
Big dog's gotta eat. Come on, guards, give me draw control. Let's go.
And it will be won by Calvin McClimate. Again, that was Kulig who was in the draw area with Gilbert. And Gilbert has been staunch winning the draws so far, helping out with maintaining possession. 3-2 Knights. Laney Aldridge has it.
Come on, D.
Boer going to Gilbert. Gilbert will try to attack the net. Runs into two defenders there. Gives up the ball to Aldridge.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
In that end zone area of this football field. Shoots with the left hand, and it was blocked by a pair of North Central defenders, and the goalie, LaRocco, has it.
Dump it out, dump it out.
And she will evade Aldridge. And then shoot it down the middle. Loose ball. Still a loose ball, and it was picked up by North Central. We're going to have a foul on McClimate as she ran into Odessa Wood.
Move.
Well, if you're following the NCAA men's basketball tournament, there will not be a number one seed in the Final Four. And I saw a tweet last night by NCAA historian and statistician David Warlock, and I believe he said that it is the first time in the history of the tournament that there has not been a number one seed that will make it to the Final Four. So some wild games and scores and results. And we'll see who ends up playing in the Final Four in the men's side. Women's side, there's two number one seeds that have already got knocked out, and they're still playing in the round of 16 right now. So that also getting very interesting. We had the D3 men's finals last week. Christopher Newport won that. Christopher Newport women are playing in the women's final next weekend down in Dallas. I'm trying to remember who they play. I think it's an Eastern team, but they are playing the D2, D3, and D1 Women's National Championship all in the same city next weekend. 3:53 to go here. First quarter, Kelvin up 3-2. McClimate shooting, and that is a goal. That was an athletic move and play and finish by McClimate, who came around the bend, beat two defenders, and just cranked that shot with a right-handed finish, and it makes it 4-2. McClimate came into this game second on the team in scoring with 25 points. She had 17 goals, 8 assists coming in. Gilbert, of course, leading Kelvin with 30 goals on the year, 4 assists, 34 points. And speaking of Gilbert, she'll be back in the draw area, going up against, I believe, Kulig again. Draw control, won by Gilbert, and finds a familiar face, McClimate, along the left wing side. Here comes McClimate on the attack. Try to get you scores from around the league as far as teams that are playing or competing today. Just pulling up the schedule. A lot of cancellations, although there are some teams that are still down in Florida right now with the late spring break. Kalamazoo being one of them. 4-2 here, and loose ball. Boer comes up with it. That is Hansen with it. And a shot and a save by LaRocco. Hansen's brother, of course, is on the Calvin men's lacrosse team. They're, as I mentioned, at Benedictine. Here's a clearance attempt by the Cardinals, and they'll move it up the field. A foul, and the Cardinals bring it up, and now we're going to have a turnover on the Cardinals. Yep, we will. Turnover by number 2, Reagan Jordan, and then she fouled the Calvin player. It's like St. Mary's is leading Edgewood 5-0 in women's lacrosse right now. Adrian and Anderson of Indiana will play at 2. Mount St. Joe and Trine were canceled today. Those are your women's lacrosse contests for this Saturday afternoon. On the carry is not Boer. It's a shot and a goal by number 8, J.C. Smith. And the Knights are getting some good penetration into this defense of North Central, and they're starting to carve the Cardinals up a little bit. Makes it 5-2.
Nice goal for J.C. Smith.
Gilbert and Kulig again. 5-2 Calvin, starting to pile up the goals here. And the Knights will win that one and then turn it over. Comes North Central.
Who's next? Attack, move!
With a minute left here in the first quarter, Calvin with a 3-goal lead. North Central could play for the last shot. 44 ticks on the game clock, 58 on the shot clock. .22 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Gilbert trying to press in, and a ton of pressure on Kipka. She'll give out the ball. 14 ticks left. It's Morgan Bethard defending. North Central struggling a little bit. Here is a pass out in front, and what do we have here? An infraction. Camp actually made the save, and I think a foul on North Central pretty much at the horn, so they'll say that is the end of the first quarter.
And at the end of your first quarter,
Kelvin up 5-2.
Naperville, North Central College,
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, I wanted to say Naperville as well, the home of North Central. Just over on the other side of the highway from where Wheaton is, if you've been to either of those schools. North Central on one side of the highway, south side to be exact, and Wheaton on the north side. And then Elmhurst isn't too far away. Probably about 10 miles east of Wheaton and North Central. College Conference of Illinois and Wisconsin. I think they're up to 10 schools in that league. Could probably look it up off the top of my head. Can tell you North Park is another squad or school in there that's out of the Chicago area. Got Illinois Wesleyan, Millikan, Augustana. Carroll College of Wisconsin is in the CCIW now. Got added in a few years back. Just doing my CCIW quiz. Well, Carthage, I forgot about Carthage. They're in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And after that, I think I mentioned the 9 schools that make up the CCIW in their primary sports. I know Wash U is an affiliate member in football. North Central, of course, winning the national title this year in football this past December. I believe the national title game was played on the campus of the Naval Academy in Annapolis this year. It was a very exciting game, North Central and Mount Union. North Central held on, I think, to win by 3 or 4 points. They had a decent lead. Mount Union had a late fourth-quarter comeback. I believe that was the second national title for North Central in the last 4 years, so congrats to them. Perennially, North Central a cross-country track and field power, winning several national championships in the 80s and 90s, and then later in the 2000s as well. On the men's side in particular, they won a handful of national titles in track and field as well. Former sports information director at North Central, Mike Kuhn, was and is still a longtime friend of mine. Always bumped into him at cross-country nationals and all that. He later went on to the University of Illinois, worked in their sports info department, and still calls the University of Illinois women's basketball games, doing play-by-play on the radio. So ready to go here, second quarter. And we've got Abby Treby, a new player, up to try to take the draw against Megan Gilbert. Ball flipped up in the air, and guess what? Well, Gilbert won it, and then it went to the basket of Chang after it got knocked out of her basket. Chang quickly into the attack, into the attacking third. Aldridge has it. The Knights will move this ball around. Annalise Hansen behind the net right now. She is playing against her hometown team. She's out of Naperville. To Naperville North High School. So she's very familiar with North Central. And, Gilbert got checked in the back, and we're going to have a foul on the Cardinals. Gilbert a little ginger there. Can't feel good on a cold, damp day. We're going to have time here. A timeout taken by the Knights with 14-18 here left in the second quarter, with the Knights leading at 5-2. No, it's the Michigan High School boys basketball state finals weekend. It was great to have a state quarterfinal game at Calvin on Tuesday night. We had a full house. We had South Christian High School and Huntsville Unity Christian High School over at Venord Arena. It was a lot of fun. I think the announced crowd was about 4,546 as far as what they sold in terms of tickets. And South Christian won that game, and they are in the state finals this evening, going up against Ferndale. If you're not familiar with the state of Michigan, if you're watching from the North Central side, they play the boys basketball and girls basketball state finals on alternating weekends at the Breslin Center in the campus of Michigan State University. I know in the state of Illinois it's kind of rotated around. I think they're back at Assembly Hall now, is my understanding, at University of Illinois. It had been on the campus of Bradley in Peoria, Illinois for a while. And memory serves, maybe even Illinois State might have hosted the Illinois State Championships at one point or another. Looking at this stadium here, this will be the home of some of Calvin's home football games in 2024. It'll be the inaugural season of Calvin football. A lot of excitement brewing there. They'll go through a practice season next fall. I think there'll be an inter-squad scrimmage open to the public. Haven't really announced the date on that. Well, looks like it'll be sometime in later September. So stay tuned on that. This high school about, 3 to 3.5 miles away from the Calvin campus, and just over south of this facility is the Eagles Ice Center, where Calvin's two hockey teams play their home games. Free position here for Gilbert, comes right in, and it's deflected away by LaRocco. It'll go all the way out of bounds, and it will go to North Central. And I'm not sure if LaRocco got a piece of that or if that hit the post. It sounded like it caught some post. Pass comes in from the sideline, and it's going to be stolen, well, momentarily, and then North Central will scoop it up. Julia Clark has it. Here comes North Central. And being swarmed was Anise Kaufman.
Tori, come on! Man on! Bring it up!
Back to LaRocco, the goalie. They are still trying to clear. We've got 50 seconds on the shot clock. Pass down the middle, and it is going to be picked up by the Cardinals. McKenzie has it. They are struggling to clear the ball, but they will finally in this attack with only 30 seconds left in the shot clock. Calvin's Morgan Bethard was pressing there.
Cutters, come on! 20 seconds!
Pretty good defense by Gilbert. Knocked it loose. 10 on the shot clock. Calvin defense holding strong. Passing to the center. Look out. A shot and a goal right at the almost the shot clock expiring there. That was Treby, who caught it running through the center and fired it home, making it 5-3. So back to the draw circle. Gilbert and Kulig, I believe. Yep. So that's a pretty big goal for North Central. So the momentum had been with Kelvin with 3 unanswered goals. Now Kelvin will win the draw, and here comes McClimate. Racing through the left wing and now behind the North Central net. Kelvin in the attack, Aldridge. Now Boer. Gilbert will just come around the end, and we're going to have a foul, a check of the illegal variety on North Central, and I think that was Coolig who was called for the infraction. So free position attempt here for Gilbert, and she can be very deadly here. She can get quick on the goal, and she's got a quick snapshot. Here's Gilbert, snaps it and goes low, and saved by LaRocco, who read the shot and turned away that shot, and it will be North Central's ball. So the Cardinals coming up big here. Oh, and an intercept by the Knights. Aldridge and LaRocco out of her net.
Tori, get on her! Get on her hip, Tor!
North Central does regroup defensively before a shot could be fired. Cutting through is Boer, and she got fouled. And another free position attempt coming up for the Knights. Boer will take it from straight away. Coolig got called for the foul. Whistle blows. Boer coming right on in. Shoots low and scores. When the underhanded flick shot and beat the goalie to make it 6-3 with 11:30 to go. So just looking at the scoring here, that's the first goal of the game for Boer. Megan Chang has a goal. No, that's the second goal for Boer, sorry. So Michaela McClimate, 2 goals. Boer with 2 goals. Megan Chang with a goal. J.C. Smith with a goal. Ooh, and sliding to the turf was McClimate, and it'll be a foul on North Central. So Kelvin will get that draw, and here comes McClimate. McClimate out of Camp Hill, Pennsylvania. Covenant Christian Academy product. We'll go to the fifth-year senior, Megan Gilbert. Through the middle, Chang, a shot, and never got through, blocked. And North Central scrambling for it. Big scramble for the ball. Who's going to come up with it here? North Central will, as Chang and Boer were pressing in, but the Cardinals now trying to clear. 6-3 Kelvin, 10:40 left here. Look out, McClimate trying to swipe from behind. And she forces the turnover as that pass goes wayward into the track and field area right in front of us. So an unsuccessful clear for the Cardinals. And back the other way. With it is Dorlag, the senior from Ypsilanti, Michigan. And Gilbert, who's got plenty of open territory to operate. J.C. Smith goes behind the net to Aldridge. Gilbert to Chang. Now McClimate. Got triple teamed. Opened up the middle, though, and a shot and a goal. Well, that's where McClimate's been really good at the wraparound attack, if you will. And North Central committed 3 defenders to cutting her off, and it opened up the lane right down the middle. And it was Boer was the recipient on the nice feed from McClimate, and Boer slammed it home, 7-3. I can give you some NCAA women's basketball scores here. Looks like Maryland is defeating or is up on Notre Dame 73-51 with 2.5 to go in the fourth quarter there. It's like UCLA will take on top-seeded South Carolina later this afternoon. Ohio State will take on UConn at 4, and then the Tennessee Lady Vols taking on Virginia Tech, also a number 1 seed. That'll be at 6:30 tonight. Those are the women's scores. We're set up on the schedule for today at the D1 level. Draw control won by Kelvin. Chang has it. Kind of a cold, damp day here at Eagle Stadium, but the Knights are making good use of this facility to take a 7-3 lead. Kind of a foul on North Central. I've yet to see a card here. I thought maybe we might see one there, but did not. Gilbert will get the free position attempt. Comes right on in. Shoots and shoots it wide. That'll go to North Central. McClimate pressuring Victoria Leonard. And a loose ball out in front. It's going to be stolen by Kelvin. And what do we have here? J.C. Smith had it. I think we got an infraction on North Central here. So Smith will get the free position attempt. Have to look at the stats. The Knights have had a number of free position attempts thus far. They lead at 7-3. Aldridge, a shot and a goal. Just beat LaRocco short side with a snapshot. And LaRocco is a little slow in getting her stick over, and it's 8-3 on the free position shot from the tight angle. The other D1 women's basketball scores from last night: Miami of Florida held off Villanova 70-65. After Villanova came all the way back from a 21-point deficit to take a lead, but couldn't pull it off. LSU edged Utah 66-63. Iowa defeated Colorado 87-77, and Louisville defeated Ole Miss 72-62. So Louisville and Iowa play in an Elite 8 game Sunday night. I think that's a 9 o'clock game, and I think it's Miami of Florida against LSU in the late afternoon game on Sunday. Try to bring you up to speed on the men's scores from yesterday when we get a chance. 8-3 here at Eagles Stadium. 8:46 to go. Draw control is going to be won by North Central, and that was Kulig snaring that one, and we're going to have a foul on Kelvin. I think McClimate hacked Kulig, but she is being tightly defended. Gets out of a double team, but then loses the ball, and then McClimate comes up with the ball and is fouled. So a turnover by the Cardinals, and here comes Kelvin the other way. Chang out of Clarksburg, Maryland. Gets it up ahead to J.C. Smith, the freshman out of Watertown, Wisconsin. Smith on the carry, whirling, and instead gives it back to Gilbert, who is playing in, I guess you'd almost call it like a holding midfield spot at the top, and her pass is intercepted. We've seen Gilbert playing in more of a frontline attacker spot, but she's playing in a little bit more of a midfield position today where she can play both offense and defense. Here is North Central, Abby McKenzie right down the chute. And what do we have here? A timeout by the Cardinals with 7:23 to go, and Calvin up 8-3. Well, the D1 men's basketball scores yesterday, it was San Diego State upsetting perhaps the top seed in the whole tournament, Alabama, last night, 71-64. Former University of Michigan assistant coach Brian Dutcher is the coach for San Diego State. Of course, he took over from Steve Fisher. Fisher, of course, the coach who led Michigan to a national title in '89, and I believe Dutcher was an assistant with him on that squad. Then with the Fab Five in the early '90s, and then they later hooked on at San Diego State. So San Diego State in the Elite Eight, and they will take on Creighton. Creighton, coached by I want to say Doug McDermott, but I think it is Doug McDermott is the head coach. His son was a star player for him at Creighton, but they defeated Princeton 86-75. So Creighton against San Diego State, one of those two teams going to the Final Four. I'm not sure there's too many folks that pick one of those squads to go to the finals in their brackets. And you got Miami knocked off top-seeded Houston. So there's another upset yesterday. It was 89-75, and Miami will take on Texas, a 2-seed. Texas defeated Xavier 83-71. Then you've got perhaps the Cinderella story of the tournament right now. Games today, Florida Atlantic, a 9-seed, taking on third-seeded Kansas State in an Elite Eight game this evening at Madison Square Garden. And then the UConn men's team will take on Gonzaga at 8:49. Gonzaga holding off UCLA the other night in a very exciting game, coming back from a deficit to win that one. That is the West region. All right, back to the lacrosse action here. North Central has the ball out of the timeout. 7:23 to go, second quarter, 8-3 Calvin. North Central would really like a goal here, just to try to snap back a little momentum.
Go, Skyler, go!
Knights threatening to break this one wide open. Remember, a 10-goal advantage creates a running clock. On the attack here is Julia Clark. A pass, and Treby, a shot, and a good save by Camp, who went down low, and it's Dorlag who pushes the ball back to Camp, and here comes Calvin in transition. Chang right through the center. A burst of speed, and she'll blow by the defender who was trying to check her, and it's a successful clear for the Knights. Big save by Camp, and that set up the Calvin attack here. Hansen has it and flips it over to Gilbert. 6:20 to go here, first quarter. Aldridge trying to turn it inside, could not. Defended nicely by Odessa Wood. Here is McClimate, got a little space, tries to turn inside, no. Double team comes, Hansen through the middle, a shot and a goal. One hops it off the turf and over the goalie's stick. It makes it 9-3 with 6:08 to go, second quarter.
Calvin goals. Annalise Hansen with the assist from Michaela McClimate.
And that is the first collegiate goal for Annalise Hansen. I just looked it up. So that's got to be exciting. And coming against her hometown North Central Cardinals. Light rain continuing to fall here at Eagle Stadium, 9-3. 6:08 to go here, second quarter. Up in the air, and it pinballs around. Megan Chang will come up with that draw. And here comes McClimate. Knights spreading the scoring wealth around. I believe it is, have to look it up. I think it's 4 or 5 different Knights have scored so far. I think it's 4. Here's a wraparound shot and a good save by LaRocco, who stood tall. Ball comes back to Gilbert out in front. Chang, a shot from tight angle, saved by LaRocco again. To Gilbert, coming on in, got hit in the head, and yet they're going to call a foul. Her mask got dislodged a bit. Well, there are sometimes plays that you see yellow cards called for, but no yellow card there. So free position for Gilbert. Comes right on in. Shoots, and a goal. Got by. Went right through her legs, LaRocco. I thought at first she had saved it, and then you could tell by her body language that it got by. I'll make it 10-3.
Charm on the free position shot attempt. Lady Knights goal. Megan Gilbert.
Six different Knights have scored so far. That's got to be pleasing to head coach Blake Boehm. 10-3. So we get a little pinball wizard there for that goal song from the rock opera Tommy. Of course, I'm a big Who fan, but we won't go through the history of that band for now, although you hear a lot of their music in advertisements, and of course the intro theme song for the CSI television shows going back a few years. Actually went to a high school play a couple of weeks ago where they ended up having Who Are You as part of the music offerings there, so that was interesting. 10-3 here at Eagle Stadium. Gilbert had it, back to Aldridge. Chang. Michaela McClimate finds Gilbert being double-teamed, triple-teamed. Finds the open Knight behind the net, Aldridge. Knight getting some good movement and passing out in front. A shot in off the shin of LaRocco. That was Hansen, who is bidding for her second goal of the game. Good save by LaRocco. Got to look up the stats. LaRocco has probably made 5 or 6 saves at least so far. Spinning here is Boer right out in front. A shot, and it goes wide. Might have been, yeah, it was off the stick of the goalie. So I'll stay with Kelvin. Pass behind to Aldridge. Now McClimate. Gilbert thinking about shooting from the point. Instead flips it to Aldridge. It's all Kelvin right now. 20 on the shot clock, and Gilbert's going to be fouled. And I think the North Central side ruling that Kelvin did not have possession of the ball on that foul. That's an interesting one. So Kelvin's going to pick the ball up almost like a soccer situation where they play it back. I'm still a little bit of a novice on some of the lacrosse rules, so I'm not sure exactly what happened there other than Kelvin gets the ball. But 10 on the shot clock. Here is McClimate. A shot and a goal. What a move. What a shot. And McClimate now with 3 goals on the afternoon. 3 goals and 2 assists. She's having herself a day, and it's 11-3 with 3:42 to go. And the Knights are just 2 goals away from a running clock. Now, LaRocco has made she's made 8 saves so far. She has faced 24 shots. It is a 24-4 Kelvin edge in shots in this one. Looking at the MIAA standings here, the non-conference, Elma undefeated at 6-0 going into the weekend. Adrian at 3-2. St. Mary's, the defending champs, 3-2. Hope 3-3. Kalamazoo 3-3. Trine 2-2. And you had Kelvin at 3-4 and Albion at 2-4. I don't think Elma has ever won the league in women's lacrosse, so they're off to a hot start. The Scots, we'll see how that transpires. Of course, Kelvin opens the league next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. at Scotland Yard. Draw is won by Kelvin's Gilbert, and now it's McClimate with 3:30 to go here, second quarter. Knights bidding for a running clock in the first half. Gilbert just hanging on to the ball. Looking for an opening as Gilbert goes to Aldridge. 3 minutes left, second quarter. McClimate to J.C. Smith. Now Chang. Here's McClimate again, coming around the corner. Cut off by the defense. North Central just packing it in right now. Aldridge finds McClimate. Through the middle. A shot for Gilbert and a goal. Oh, that was a nice play by the two senior leaders. Gilbert on a run right through the middle, caught it and snapped off the shot. Quite quickly went low and it bounced over the stick. And it's 12-3 with 2:24 to go. And we are one goal away from a running clock.
For second, with the assist from Michaela McClimate.
Well, it looks like the rain is starting to taper off, and it almost feels like the sun's trying to creep in from behind the clouds here. Not going to get too optimistic on that one, but looking at the stats here for Kelvin, 3 goals apiece now for Boer and McClimate. Megan Gilbert and J.C. Smith, 2 goals apiece, and then Megan Chang, Annalise Hansen also with a goal for the Knights. North Central, Abby Treby has 2 goals, and Tanya Chozak has a goal and an assist. Here's the draw, and it's going to be won by North Central. Violation on the Knights. Here come the Cardinals. And are we going to get a timeout? Or is it something with a shot clock? Yeah, I get it. We're going to have a discussion on the field here with 2:11. Well, it was not a shot clock situation. It's a violation on North Central of some sort of turnover. I started seeing Coach Blake Bain pointing the other way, and he ended up being right. So the Knights will take the ball up 12-3 with 2:11 to go. J.C. Smith has it.
2 minutes and a half.
Losing the ball out of bounds there was Hansen. So a turnover gives it back to North Central. 1:44 to go here, first half. North Central trying to clear. That is Chozak. Defended by Chang. And Aldridge whacked McKenzie and got called for the foul. It's a pretty aggressive Kelvin team. If you saw the game a week and a half ago against Wisconsin Lacrosse, The Knights were very physical. There were some pretty big collisions in that game.
One minute.
So a minute to go here. Second quarter. And North Central has the ball. They will have to get off a shot. There's about 35 on the shot clock right now. Pass into the middle. A shot and a save by Camp right out in front. Battle for the ball. And it's Kelvin's Eva Dorlag who comes up with it. Not sure who had that. Might have been Annalise Kaufman who had that shot for North Central with Camp with the save. Gilbert on the attack, right out in front. A shot and a goal. And that is Hansen with her second of the game. Comes from Gilbert. And we will run the clock, guys.
East Hansen with the assist from Alyssa Gilbert. That's Annalise's second.
And that should do it here for the half with Kelvin up 13-3.
Again, Gilbert.
So we will take a little break here. 10 minutes on the clock for halftime, and we'll be back with the second half.
At the end of the first half, Calvin Knights 13, North Central Cardinals 3.
I'm not laughing, I'll be crying. thought it was cool, but it back in the sticks, right? I thought it was cool. Yeah, it says 1 o'clock it's gonna turn to snow.
Folks, let me remind you that your Lady Knights commence MIAA conference play next Wednesday, April 5th at 7 o'clock at Alma College. Be sure to head over to Alma to cheer on your Knights. And our next home game is Saturday, April 8th at noon. We're going to host our conference rival, Trine University. So we'll see you here on the 8th.
Is that keeping you warm? Her hair and her face. How long did it take you guys to get here? Closer to home? Yeah.
All right, ready to go here for the second half. It's just walking outside for a little bit, and it is right on that threshold of where rain becomes snow. Right now, it's still kind of like a slushy rain, if you will. It's coming down.
Well, folks, we're really appreciative of you coming out to support your athletes today. Let's hear some noise for our ladies.
So not super ideal conditions to be outside, but the Knights are enjoying the 13-3 lead, and we will have a running clock as long as the Knights maintain this 10-goal lead or more. North Central trying to regroup a bit. As we start this third quarter. Going to look up, I know this is not the first time Calvin and North Central have met in women's lacrosse. Got the draw coming up here. I was just going through last year's schedule yet. Calvin defeated North Central last year, 18-5 at North Central. So the Knights will get that draw there. And they come right down the middle, Chang to Aldridge. Michaela McClimate circling right through, and a goal. That was too easy. As McClimate circled from the left side, came right down the lane and fired it home. 14-3. And that is her 4th goal of the year, or of the game. And I'll have to look it up, but I have a feeling that might be a single game scoring high for Michaela McClimate. Gilbert to take the draw here. And it is won by McClimate. That was Lucy Kulig who went up against Gilbert. And it is all Calvin in this one. 14-3, and we're going to have a foul on North Central, not a turnover on McClimate. Apparently she was bumped as she was knocked out of bounds. I was talking with our officials before the game. Road conditions were not the best driving here if you're coming from the east side of the state. Apparently there's quite a bit of snow and slush on the highway. Road conditions pretty good here in the greater Grand Rapids area, I would say, though. I came in from the west side of Grand Rapids this morning. Here is a shot and a goal. It went up and over LaRocco. And another goal for McClimate, her 5th of the game. And LaRocco just didn't see that one in time, and she reached up for it, and it went right past the blocker, or the basket, if you will. And it's 15-3. Gilbert and Kulig again. One by Gilbert, who got whacked in the head, but they'll say play on. Here's a shot by Aldridge, and she fires it home, 16-3. And it is turning into a runaway. Well, there are 3 West Michigan boys basketball teams competing in state finals today, and looks like they are going to start out 0-2. Wyoming Tri-Unity Christian got beat earlier in the Division IV final. It looks like Muskegon High School will lose to Detroit Cass Tech in the Division I final. I think Muskegon was in the Division I football final and also lost this year. If you're not familiar with Muskegon, that is about roughly an hour mostly west, but a little northwest of Grand Rapids, right on the lake shore of Lake Michigan. Really grew up as a city back in the 19th century due to its lumber trade. You can still see a lot of the, as they call them, the lumber baron mansions there in downtown Muskegon. Here is Aldridge coming right on in, and a shot goes wide. I was reading a story the other day on how the playing floors for all of the NCAA men's and women's basketball tournaments, the wood comes from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Couldn't remember the company that supplies that wood, but the playing surfaces from the UP. Here's a turnover by the Knights, and North Central will bring the ball up the other way. Victoria Leonard being double teamed on the sideline, trying to get out of trouble. Triple teamed, gets rid of the ball. And it's Anise Kaufman. She got sandwiched and lost the ball. Nope, it'll be a foul on the Knights. 16-3. Calvin on top. Running clock here. Third quarter. Tanya Chozek. Now Skylar Kipka. Reagan Jordan being tightly marked by Megan Chang. Jordan trying to turn it in, could not. We'll pass it off to Kipka. Treby trying to set up in front, and pass toward her was deflected, and the loose ball comes to Camp. Transition play, Kelvin heading up the field, and it's Megan Chang. Another one of those upperclassmen for the Knights. She is a sophomore, actually, but a shot and a goal by Aldridge. Just feels like Chang's been around for about 3 years. And it's 17-3. Season high for goals in a game so far this year for Calvin was, let's see, I'll pick up my stats. I want to say it was 20 against Lake Forest a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it was 20, a 20-16 win against Lake Forest on March 10. Calvin scheduled to date, falling to Berry College down in Georgia, 17-12, losing to Oglethorpe, 19-10. Then an exciting come-from-behind 15-13 win over Piedmont on March 3. Then a 20-16 win, as mentioned, over Lake Forest, falling to Carthage, Calvin 12-9 on March 11. Then a week and a half ago, Calvin defeated Wisconsin Lacrosse 18-11, then losing that interesting game the other night to Baldwin Wallace 11-9 when the contest was shortened because of a power failure at George Finney Stadium. Calvin wins that draw. And Gilbert has it. Coming right down the middle. Is she going to be called for a charge? She will not, and her shot goes wide. Knights will maintain possession. McClimate and she got picked from behind. She went rolling around and left her stick out there in the open, and it was Victoria Leonard that caused the turnover. Whacked the ball down from behind. I think I've only been in one Calvin event that comes to mind where there was a power failure, and it was about a half-hour delay. It was a men's basketball game in the Los Angeles area. We're going to have a foul on J.C. Smith. I was doing the radio and all the power went out. Thankfully, we had battery backup on the broadcast kit. I stayed on air, but I think Kelvin was taking on Azusa Pacific in that game and had the lead. And after the half-hour delay, we have a yellow card here. We will. I think on Calvin's. Let's see who that's on. I think that's 18 Molly Williams, a freshman out of Grand Haven. Which, speaking of Grand Haven, located about 8 to 10 miles just south of Muskegon. I was talking about Muskegon. There's another lakeshore town. Beautiful area in the summertime. They always have the Coast Guard Festival in August. So if you're ever around in Michigan in August, that's something to always try to catch. So it'll be I think I see 2 Calvin players in the box. So it might be a 2-player advantage here for North Central. I think that's Chang in the penalty area as well for the Knights. And we have a turnover by North Central. So the Knights will have possession, down 2 players. Long bomb pass by Camp, and it comes to Dorlag. McClimate finds Gilbert. What do we have here? Timeout? Yep, timeout taken by Kelvin. With 4:04 left, so that will stop the clock.
Timeout, Knights.
Here in the third quarter. Well, as we're playing the tunes in the background, reminder that the Calvin Dance Guild performance Spring Showcase is scheduled for Friday next week, March 31. Not sure if there are tickets still available or not. You can check out the Calvin box office. calvin.edu/box is the area to find the box office. That's always a big item of interest. .223 left, and I'm gonna try and see if I can get you a Calvin men's lacrosse updated score. They're underway at Benedictine. And a couple of ducks flying over the stadium here. Well, it's a day fit for ducks, I can tell you that. Calvin men are down 4-3 after 1 period of play. Men's lacrosse at Benedictine. Megan Gilbert. Knights down a couple of players because of penalties. Oh, and I think we're going to have a penalty here on North Central. Just an infraction, not a... Yeah, did I see a card go up? Yep, we sure did. As Gilbert took a shot to the head, and that is Kulig. So the Knights will be down just 1 player right now. Gilbert will have the free position attempt here.
Come on, Jordan, stick side, get there. You gotta get there.
Whistle and a shot, and it flies high over the bar. Kelvin close to the ball as it went out of bounds, so McClimate will pick it up on the restart. Gilbert trying to beat 2 defenders. Goes wide to J.C. Smith. Coming back on is Chang. A shot and a goal. Cutting in was Gilbert, and I think Aldridge got the assist. And it's actually an even strength goal. As coming on right before that shot was Chang. So I think it was 11v11. And actually now Calvin will be down a player because that goal releases Kulig out of the box, and still serving her time for Calvin is Williams. Well, Chang, I wonder if that was a green card on Chang, who only ended up with a 1-minute penalty. At any rate, it's 18-3 and the clock is running. Well, Williams is onto the field, so she's been released. A draw there, and it's going to be scooped up by Chang. Gilbert right through the center. Goes outside to Boer. Kelvin playing all of its games off campus, the home games in particular. Of course, non-conference games off campus too. Here's a shot, and it goes wide. Kelvin will have possession. The old Zeitema Field has been kind of torn up, and a new building process will ensue here pretty shortly with new facilities for soccer, football, and lacrosse. Shot out in front, and Gilbert has her shot turned away by LaRocco, makes the save. Kelvin still has the ball, though. McClimate. Kelvin up 18-3. Up top is J.C. Smith, winding and weaving her way in. Leaves it over to Aldridge. A minute left, third quarter. Cutting right on in and unable to come up with it was Williams. Or Hansen, beg your pardon. That was Annalise Hansen. Defended pretty tightly on the cut to the goal. Here comes North Central right down the middle. They'll clear the ball, and they've got a chance on the attack. Calvin does get back on defense. Skylar Kipka. Now Kulig. Smith has it for North Central. And we've got a stick flying. Not sure who lost their stick. Might have been a Kelvin player. Bounce right back up, and that will end the third quarter, with Kelvin leading at 18-3. Get you stats here in a minute. They're just underway in the second quarter. On the men's side, Knights trailing Benedictine 4-3. Stats here in this one. Kelvin out shooting North Central 36-5. And have won 20 of the 23 draw controls. So you can see the possession has gone to Kelvin. LaRocco for North Central has 9 saves. Kelvin's Jessica Camp has a couple of saves. Scoring, Michaela McClimate. She is racking up the points. 5 goals, 4 assists. She has caused a couple of turnovers. 3 goals for Audrey Boer. 3 goals and assists for Megan Gilbert. Lainey Aldridge, 2 goals and an assist. J.C. Smith and Annalise Hansen, 2 goals apiece. And Megan Chang has a goal for the Knights. Knights trying to jump around right now, trying to stay warm in the cold conditions. Looks like men's lacrosse now tied 4-4. Down at Benedictine, also in the western suburbs of Chicago. Lisle, Illinois to be exact, was down there once before for NCAA Division III track championships. Tim Calderwood, my counterpart down at Benedictine. Good man. He frequently comes back to Michigan. He has done play-by-play for some of the minor league teams here in the state. Remember Tim Calderwood one time doing basketball stats by himself with the auto-spotter and doing play-by-play. I think that was a year ago. That made the rounds a little bit. That takes some talent. Just underway here in the fourth quarter. 18-3, and wayward pass. Boer trying to track it down, and she was fouled in doing so. So it's Chang with it. Still a light drizzle out there, trying to turn inside McClimate, and her shot goes well wide. And Calvin still has possession with 26 seconds left, as Aldridge was closest to the ball as it went out of bounds. And a turnover. Aldridge got her pocket picked. North Central has it. And we're going to have a foul on the Knights as Reese McMullen was hit from behind. I think we're going to have a card on Aldridge.
Cheat.
And she will go to the penalty area. So North Central with a player advantage. And I see North Central's backup goalie starting to warm up, so we might see a goalie change. I think that's Cassidy Anderson, who's the backup goalie. North Central looking to clear. So the pass comes near side to Kaufman, and they will clear the zone. North Central. there was something with the shot clock that was a miss. The game clock continued to run, I can tell you that. Julia Clark with it. Junior out of Hudson, Ohio. Pass is intercepted, and it's Dorleg in front. And she will race the other way.
Coming back, Dor, coming back.
The Knights will clear it. Pass out in front, trying to get there, was Boer, and it's intercepted. Intercepted right back here.
Grab ball.
Knights trying to hang on to possession, and they do. Megan Chang comes up with a loose ball. Chang to Gilbert. Now J.C. Smith. Ooh, Aldridge's pass is too tall, and it's going to go all the way over midfield. It'll be a turnover. No, not a turnover. We're going to have a foul on the Cardinals. Right out in front. There's a shot by Gilbert and a goal on the feed from McClimate. Makes it 19-3.
Megan Gilbert with the assist from Michaela McClement.
And as far as goals are concerned for Gilbert, that is her fourth of the game. Update on the men's side. About 7.5 left, second quarter, still tied at 4. Gilbert to take the draw for Kelvin. I think that's Kulig for Benedictine. That's who the Kelvin men's lacrosse team is playing for North Central. And I think we have a goalie change. Did you guys get that goalie change for North Central? So 30 is now in, I believe, for... Just alerting our statisticians to the goalie change. So I believe, is Cassidy Anderson in net.
Look for the ball. Up or out.
And the Cardinals trying to clear here. With under 9 to go, 19-3, Kelvin bidding for its second 20-goal performance of the year. Chang's going to be called for the foul. Whacked Reese McMullen. And McMullen will try to get the ball in. She does. Plays it back to her defender, Victoria Leonard. Turnover on Benedictine. Losing the ball. Out of bounds, far side of the field. Aldridge. Aldridge right into the zone. Coming right on in and fouled. And she'll get the free position attempt. from the top of the circle. Left-hander. She'll shoot and score. Went low and to the side and beat the recently installed goalie Cassidy Anderson for the goal, and it's 20-3.
Ninth goal, her third. Lainey Aldridge from the free position shot. Just a quick update. Men's game, just under 6 minutes remaining in the first quarter. It's now 5-4, Calvin men versus Benedictine University.
Yeah, it looks like Calvin has taken a 5-4 lead on the men's side. Christian Kohler scoring on a man-up opportunity. The men's lacrosse team, I believe, is also right at 500 on the year, trying to get above 500 before the Knights head into league action. They will, I think it's a week from today, they will host the Albion Britons in the league opener. Draw control won by Gilbert. And McClimate. Well, it's actually April 8th that the Calvin men's lacrosse team is at home. And a shot out in front and saved by the goalie, Anderson. And Anderson will flip it down the field to Tanya Chozek. Sprinting down the near sideline, defended tightly by J.C. Smith. And Chozak will weave her way out of trouble and clear the ball. Treby with it. She's got a couple of goals here for North Central. A few times we have seen the Cardinals clear the zone and enter the attack. .5:20 to go here, fourth quarter, second half. A shot and it goes wide. Camp got a piece of it, and it'll stay with North Central.
Reset the shot clock. I hit the goalie.
Julia Clark has it. And now Smith. Chozek triple teamed, flips it out in front, and never getting off a shot was Treby. Loose ball picked up by North Central, and they will not get off the shot before the shot clock expires. So it'll be a turnover in the Cardinals with 4:28 to go here, second quarter.
Back, dog, get back.
Camp with a long bomb pass down the right sideline. Audrey Boer quickly into the attack. Finds Gilbert right down the middle. Shoots and scores. That was easy pickings there for the Knights in transition. Gilbert with her 5th goal of the game. Off the feed from Boer.
Ninth goal, Megan Gilbert.
Just too much foot speed for Calvin against North Central. Looking at the schedule again, as we mentioned, the Knights will have a bit of a break here and then back in action. Be a big one. League opener, April 5, Wednesday. The Knights will go to Alma, an Alma team that is undefeated on the year right now. And then on April 8, we will have that double header of women's men's lacrosse. We have Calvin Trine women's lacrosse at noon, and then in the game to follow, the Calvin men's lacrosse team will take on Albion. Just talking to Calvin Director of Athletics, Dr. Jim Timmer, and how this is the second consecutive spring where we have been blessed with cold and wet weather. Hopefully things will warm up a little bit after this weekend. I know the baseball and softball folks and the track and field folks, along with tennis, would appreciate it. Lacrosse can kind of play through the cold and the wet, though they probably wouldn't mind some weather that's a little bit more seasonable too, but it's been all night here despite the conditions. 21-3. Aldridge trying to turn in. Pulls the ball back out. Weaving around. Threatening to take a left-handed shot. Instead gives it off to McClimate. Good ball movement by the Knights. Up top to Gilbert. North Central on the defensive end. Backpedaling. Over the shoulder pass to Aldridge. Cuts right on in and a shot goes wide. It'll stay with Kelvin. McClimate. Under 2 minutes to go here. McClimate tried to find Hansen out in front. Her pass got deflected. Battle for the ball down there. And Gilbert comes up with it. Boer, top of the circle, turning inside, trying to beat a double team. Still weaving around. 15 on the shot clock. Gilbert, a shot and a goal on the feed from Boer. Wow. They have had a couple of pretty combinations here in the fourth quarter. It'll be the sixth goal of the game for Gilbert, and it is now 22-3 with just over a minute to go. So I think we will get one more face-off in here and maybe one last possession for someone. And that'll probably be enough to call it good for today in this cold, rainy afternoon in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Here in late March. Got some of the North Central fans departing there. And looks like the draw will be taken by Odessa Wood of North Central against Gilbert. Clock continuing to run. We've got about 35 ticks left. Gilbert will win that draw and come right down. See if the Knights try to squeeze off one last shot. Right out in front, and they will get off a shot and a goal. And it's Hansen from Gilbert. She picks up a hat trick, her first collegiate hat trick, her first collegiate goal today, and then finishing it off with a hat trick. You gotta love it for the freshman out of Naperville, Illinois. And that'll do it here at Eagle Stadium. The Knights win it in commanding fashion, 23-3. Looking at the final stats here, I'll quickly go through them. Jessica Camp for Kelvin had 2 saves. I'll give you the shots overall. First of all, 44 for Kelvin, 7 for North Central. And then going through the individual sides, Megan Gilbert with 6 goals, 2 assists. Michaela McClimate, 5 goals and 5 assists. Lainey Aldridge, 3 goals and assist. Audrey Boer, 3 goals, 2 assists. Annalise Hansen, as we just mentioned, a hat trick, 3 goals. 2 goals for J.C. Smith and 1 for Megan Chang. For North Central, 2 goals for Abby Treby and a goal and assist for Tanya Chozek. It was 5-2 Kelvin after the first, 13-3 Kelvin at half, and then the Knights outscoring North Central 10-0 in the second half. Final score here from Eagle Stadium, Kelvin 23, North Central 3. Want to thank Justin from Video Productions once again for doing a tremendous job on the video stream, and all of our statisticians, our graphics artist, Bree Nolan, thanks to her, and everyone else here in today's broadcast. Once again, final Kelvin 23, North Central 3. Until our next broadcast, we say so long.